Krishna. Hare Ram, Ram Ram, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna. So, we are all gathered here on the invitation of the ISKCON family to commemorate the departure of their dear mother, Srimati Savitri Ji Aika, who departed a few days ago. A very devout dharma, actively chanting Krishna's holy names for the last 2 years. A personality who was like the backbone and the bedrock of the entire family. Her sudden disappearance has really shocked the entire family, and all of us who are part of their family for many years as devotees of ISKCON. We stand with you in support, in prayer, in condolence, and pray to Lord Krishna that He gives deep strength to each and every member of your family to tolerate this grief in separation. Let us begin by first chanting the Hare Krishna Mahamantra in memory of Srimati Savitri Ji. I will chant 2 words at a time and you please repeat after me. Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Hare Ram, Ram Ram, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Hare Ram, Ram Ram, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Hare Ram, Ram Ram, Hare Hare. In the Bhagavat tradition, the position of mother has been tremendously glorified. In the next few minutes, I'll take you through the various yugas, Satya Yuga, Treta Yuga, Dwapar Yuga, Kali Yuga, sharing experiences from our tradition and examples from our tradition on the role played by mothers and their motherly love. In Satyuga, one of the greatest personalities was Prahlad Maharaj. Prahlad Maharaj is the son of Hiranyakashipu and his mother's name was Kayadu. Interestingly, although Hiranyakashipu had a very different materialistic approach in life, but his son was filled with divine qualities. Nodvigna chitto vyasaneshu nispraha shruteshu drishteshu gunesha vastudrik dantendriya prana shariradi sada prashanta kamo rahitasura sura. The Srimad Bhagavatam describes Prahlad as someone who had all divine qualities, was not hankering, was not wanting to become somebody in the heavenly planets. He was totally sense-controlled, self-controlled, tolerant, grateful, humble. And then the question is asked, how could a person who is in this kind of a situation be endowed with such divinity? And the secret lies in how his mother was actually given association by Narada Muni. So when Kayadu was pregnant with Prahlad in the womb, Hiranyakashipu was performing austerities. He was not present. And taking this opportunity, the demigods led by Indra decided to actually attack the palace and kill Kayadu and the son in the womb. And with this, they made this plan. But when they were about to do that, Narad Muni appeared on the scene and stopped them, saying that the child in the womb is actually potentially a very divine personality. And please, my dear Indra, do not kill Kayadu, the wife of Hiranyakashipu, and do not kill the child in the womb, who is going to be Prahlad. It is to Indra's credit that although he was very ambitious, very opportunistic, he was extremely intent on making sure that no rivalry or competition exists, and it was a golden opportunity for him to take this revenge. But divinity means the willingness to defer to divine guidance. And therefore, he accepted whatever Narad Muni suggested without argument, because there was no way to prove that whatever Narad Muni was suggesting was actually true, which shows that Indra had that iota of faith in Narad Muni's words. After the demigods, they leave, and in fact, Indra goes to the extent of circumambulating Kayadu. Because he hears that a Mahatma is in the womb of Kayadu, he circumambulates Kayadu a few times, offers respects, and goes. And that is when Narad Muni speaks the Bhagavatam to the child in the womb. And both the mother and the child hear the Bhagavatam. And that has tremendous impact on Prahlad and molds his personality in the way it ultimately manifests. Taking things forward, when Lord Narsingadev appears and Prahlad Maharaj is offering his prayers to Lord Narsingadev, at that point he acknowledges the contribution made by his mother, Kayadu, in giving him that association of the great saint Narad Muni. So sometimes when we become extremely accomplished, successful, go to the next level, there may be a tendency to forget our roots because of the influence of pride and association. We may forget the contribution of multiple people who have been responsible to make sure that we are where we are. And what to speak of when Lord Narsingadev himself is present, the Supreme Personality of Godhead in his incarnation in a never before seen form. And 330 million gods are there surrounding Lord Narsingadev, all of them shivering and trembling, and none of them are able to control Lord Narsingadev's anger. And the only person who could do that was Prahlad. So in that kind of a setting, it is very easy to become proud. It is very easy to feel a sense of accomplishment so great that one forgets the past. So the important thing is here Prahlad is praying, apart from glorifying Lord Narsingadev, he says, Evam janam nipatitam prabhavahi kupe kamabhikama manuya prapatan prasangat kritvatmasat surarashina bhagavan grihita soham katham nu visrije tava bhritya sevam. Prahlad Maharaj is saying, my dear Lord Narsingadev, today, as I see you right in front of my eyes, this is a dream come true for any devotee who's aspiring to witness the presence of the Lord in their lives. Lord himself is standing. But as I witness your presence in front of me, At this moment, I am remembering my mother, Kayadu. Evam janam nipatitam prabhavahi kupe kamabhikama manuya prapatan prasangat. If it was not for my mother, I would actually been following the footsteps of all the other demons and would have already entered into hell. But because of my mother Kayadu, she facilitated association with the great sage Narad Muni. And so when I heard the Srimad Bhagavatam and the Bhagavad Dharma from the lotus lips of Narad Muni, my character transformed, my values transformed, my faith transformed. And therefore in the Sanatan Dharma tradition, there was a difference between wealth and prosperity, dhan and artha. Wealth would only be in terms of money, assets, property, equity. But prosperity would be measured in terms of all those things in life which money cannot buy, which means character, values, discipline, your faith in the divine, your ability to remain disciplined in the face of provocations, tolerance, gratitude, humility. All of these are part of the larger ecosystem of divine qualities. And therefore, Prahlad Maharaj says, I am who I am mainly because of the association of Sripad Narad Muni. And that association of Narad Muni could transform me because my mother was the main facilitating person. Kritvatmasat surarishina bhagavan grihita soham katham nu visrije tava bhritya sevam. And hence, at this moment when I am witnessing your divine presence, my dear Lord Narsingadev, I still have a deep unfulfilled desire, because people may think, having witnessed the Lord's darshan, what other desire will remain? But I have one deep unfulfilled desire, which is that for all the benefits I have received and the grace and the mercy I received, the knowledge I received from Narad Muni, I have not been able to repay that by serving him. Kritvatmasat surarshina bhagavan grihitam. That Sripad Narad Muni accepted me as a student, even within the womb, without questioning my qualification or disqualification. That is his causeless mercy. Soham katham nu visrije tava bhritya sevam. How can I give up the association of such a great soul? Please give me an opportunity to serve him so that I can repay that debt towards him. And that association of Narad Muni I got thanks to my mother, Kayadu. So one of the greatest saints who was actually manifest and who faced some of the most provoking situations is Prahlad Maharaj. And therefore, Lord Narsingadev personally assures all the gods when they were praying, please protect us from the onslaught of Hiranyakashipu. Lord Vishnu said, Nirvairaya prashantaya swasutaya mahatmane praharadaya yada druhyet honishyepi varorjitam. This Prahlad is such a divine personality that he has no enemies. Prashantaya, he is perfectly peaceful because his senses are controlled. He is a Mahatma. And when Praharadaya yada druhyet, when Hiranyakashipu will torment his son Prahlad, Hanishyepi, I will manifest and do the needful. Varorjitam, even though Brahma may have blessed him with lot of boons for his protection, all of that will fail because he will torment a devotee. And I will personally make sure that he is protected. So Satyuga, Prahlad Maharaj demonstrates the power of motherly affection. Then we come to Treta Yuga. We have Lord Ramachandra, whose mother Kaushalya is the embodiment of motherly devotion, love and protection. So when Dasharath Maharaj sees the first, Ramayana describes this, and I'm not saying that this should be a standard for our age today. But Dasharath Maharaj was ruling for 60,000 years in Ayodhya, and Ayodhya is known as a city which cannot be conquered with war, yuddha. Ayodhya means that which cannot be defeated in battle. That is Ayodhya. So when Dasharath Maharaj saw that he is growing old and Lord Ram has married Sita and has become mature, he decided, I will now hand over the kingdom to Ram. So Dasharath Maharaj convened a major meeting of all the citizens of Ayodhya. All the citizens of Ayodhya gathered together in one big assembly. Dasharath Maharaj announced in front of all of them that, my dear citizens, I have ruled over Ayodhya for 60,000 years. Now I see a qualified candidate to rule in the form of Lord Ram. I want to make an announcement that I am retiring and making Ram the king. As soon as he made this announcement, there was a thunderous applause. A huge sound, a sound which Dasharath had never heard before. He got extremely bewildered to hear that huge sound, and he called one of his ministers and said, what was that sound all about? And the minister said, I will only reveal if you promise you will not punish me. Dasharath said, I will not punish you. Tell me what that sound was. And the minister said, my dear Dasharath, in the last 60,000 years, while ruling over Ayodhya, you have made so many decisions which were excellent. But today, the decision which you made to retire is the best decision in 60,000 years. And that's the reason the citizens are celebrating. Dasharath suddenly became insecure. And he said, am I so useless that my retirement is being celebrated? Maybe I will postpone my retirement. So the minister said, no, it is not your fault. You have done your best. But your son, Lord Ram, is filled with such divine qualities that how can any of the citizens resist having a leader like Ram? And therefore, a great degree of credit to Lord Ram's divine qualities goes to Kaushalya. And when Lord Ram, due to the intrigue of Kaikeyi, is announced to go to the forest for 14 years, everybody in Ayodhya is in a state of shock. And so this is where Ram's wife, Sita Devi, who is Lord Ram's wife, but she plays a motherly role. And Sita Devi tells Lord Ram that, my dear Lord, I am also going to come along with you to the forest. Lord Ram looks at Sita and says, my dear Sita, your entire life has been so protected. Your entire body is so soft and vulnerable that your father would not allow you to walk in the sun also. You were growing up in the palace in Mithila. That palace was full of so much of comfort, and added to that comfort, considering your soft feet, your father would always make sure that wherever you walked, there would be a few inches of flower petals. And when your feet would touch the flower petals, the softest flower petals would leave imprint on your feet. That is how soft your body is. And you are saying you will come to the forest? How is it possible for you to handle that? It's not possible. So you please, stay here in Ayodhya only and do not make these kind of suggestions. It's not possible. So Sita Devi, she looks at Ram and says, my dear Lord, please tell me, as per our Vedic tradition, what is the meaning of Swarga and what is the meaning of Naraka? What is heaven? What is hell? And Lord Ram says, well, if you do pious activities, you go to Swarga. If you do sinful activities, you go to Naraka or hell. So Sita Devi looks at Ram and says, my dear Lord, if you don't know the right answer, don't speculate. Ram is bewildered. She is telling me what is right, what is wrong answer. I am the propounder of the Vedas. So he says, what is the understanding of Swarga and Naraka? And Sita says, Yas tvaya sahasa swargo nirayo yas tvaya vina etajjanam param pritim gaccharam param sukham. She says, my understanding of Swarga or heaven is to always be in your association serving you. The opportunity to serve you is heaven. The loss of the opportunity to serve you and separation from you is Naraka or hell. Therefore, please allow me to come with you. Then Sita Devi adds, when I was growing up as a child, one astrologer had come to my father's palace in Mithila. And that astrologer had seen my charts and made an astrological prediction that after marriage, this girl will have to stay in the forest in Vanvas for some period. This conversation between my parents and the astrologer was happening confidentially. But I was standing behind the curtains and hearing the whole thing. My parents did not know that I was hearing. So I already heard that after marriage, I may have to go to Vanvas, to the forest. So after marriage with Lord Ram, I have secretly packed an entire set of clothes suitable for Vanvas. So I have come prepared. So please don't think I am not prepared. I am fully prepared. So Ram was becoming even more bewildered because Sita was really putting argument after argument. Then she says, my dear Lord, you may think that my presence in the forest will be a liability for you. How will I contribute? But let me tell you that I will be walking in front, crushing all the stones and pebbles and thorns so that you can walk peacefully without getting pricked by any of them. So the Acharyas describe that when Sita Devi mentions that I will go ahead in front and crush the stones and the pebbles and the obstacles, she is actually referring to the fact that she will become the instrument and go to Lanka first with Ravana and become the instrument to give Lord Ram the excuse to attack Lanka and kill Ravana. So Sita Devi is in the mood of motherly sacrifice. That I want to sacrifice myself so that millions and millions of souls can be saved from the torment of Ravana. That is Sita Devi's motherly nature. And so when Sita Devi has been kidnapped by Ravana and kept in Ashoka Vatika in Lanka, Hanumanji reaches there with the message of Lord Ram as Ramadut. And when Hanumanji offers that ring as the proof that Lord Ram has sent me, Sita Devi is very, very happy to see that Lord Ram is aware and has sent a messenger. At that time, Hanumanji makes an offer. And Hanumanji says, my dear Sita Devi, you have been kidnapped and trapped here in Ashok Vatika. You do not have to continue here. You can just jump on my back. And I will jump across the ocean, and just like I came from Rameshwaram to here by jumping, I will take you back. Your escape from Ravana's kingdom, Lanka, is only one jump away. Just jump on my shoulders. So anybody in today's day and age hears this offer, they will jump for it. Because they may say, this is the most practical offer. But what was Sita Devi's response? She first says, I don't know whether you will be able to handle the attacks by the demons. Hanumanji immediately grows his size and shows a size which goes up to the skies and then comes back to normal and says, now you have seen my size. So you know, none of the demons can attack me. Then she says, when we are traveling across the ocean, I may faint and fall into the ocean. Hanumanji says, ocean is your father. During Samudra Manthan, you came from the ocean. Lakshmi Devi came from the ocean. How can you become afraid of your father? Not possible. Then Sita Devi says, you are a Parapurush. You are not my husband. So how can I touch you? Hanumanji says, I am your son. So you can of course jump on my back. No problem. Stop giving these arguments. So now Sita Devi comes to the main point. Sundari Raghunathasya Surastri Dukkhashantaye Dashananasya Bhavane Dashamasan Niveshayan. Sita Devi says, my dear Hanumanji, I'll tell you the real reason. The real reason is I have appeared here to assist the Supreme Lord Ram. Lord Ram is the father of all the living entities. I am the mother of all the living entities. And I have to demonstrate my affection as a mother by sharing a very important teaching to all my sons and daughters, the souls of this world for all future generations. What is that? There are two categories of situations in this world. One is problems. As you know, problems can be solved. Problems can be fixed. Right? And as I give the example, if a child is studying mathematics and is not able to study well, you can put him a tuition and make him study better. And once in a typical home, father is teaching the son mathematics and he tells the son, 9 multiplied by 8 is how much? The son says 78. Father says, excellent, take a cookie. The father's friend is standing there and says, what kind of maths you're teaching him? 9 into 8 is 72, not 78. You're teaching him wrong. The father says, relax, he's my son. I asked him the same question yesterday. He said, answer yesterday, 9 into 8, 88. Today he has come to 78. In a couple of days, he'll come to 72. Relax. Problems can be solved. And the entire university system exists to help us with skills which can help solve problems. But spirituality exists to deal with another category. That is called calamity. Calamity means no solution. You only have to tolerate it. Vasudeva and Devaki lost 6 sons. That is called calamity. The son losing an exam is a problem. But the family losing the son is a calamity. And therefore, as the material education helps us solving problems, the spiritual education is existing to help us deal with calamities, to help us with the resilience, the tolerance, with the right kind of perspective. Problem cannot be changed, but the perspective can change. And therefore, here Sita Devi is sharing that, my dear Hanumanji, which human being can ever say that my life will only have problems, no calamities? Impossible. If a person claims my life will be calamity free, he may be a lunatic. It's impossible. So the question is, the world is preparing you for problem solving. How much is the world and the family preparing you for coping with calamities? Is there a systematic approach to help you deal with it? That's where spirituality comes in. That's why it is so important, but ironically, so highly ignored. And therefore, my dear Hanumanji, I want people to know that when I am now trapped by Ravana, I don't even know whether I'll escape. It's a kind of a calamity. When people are in a state of calamity, they must realize that they may go through problems in life which cannot be fixed with intelligence and logic and skill. So when all your known source of solutions fail, at that time, rather than going into depression and defeat, you must focus on dependence on Lord Rama. So therefore, I want to give a message to all my children and future generations that when you experience defeat, do not go into depression. When you experience helplessness, do not become hopeless, but turn to dependence on the Lord by seeking His shelter and by chanting His names and remembering Him. Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Hare Ram, Ram Ram, Hare Hare. So Sita Devi says, I will continue remembering my Lord Ram here, chanting his names helplessly, waiting for him to come and rescue me. This is the example I want to give to all my children in future. That do not be proud of your abilities, of your powers, of your skills, of your education, of your property, of your assets, of your money. Everything will evaporate in a moment. Nobody can do anything. That is the time you have to seek divine shelter. That is the lesson I want to give to my children as the universal mother Sita. And therefore Sita Devi refused the shortcut option given by Hanumanji. And Sita Devi says, I want my children in future to heed this, that do not depend on shortcuts. It will not always work. And therefore, I will simply remember my Lord Ram and depend on him. And more importantly, if I sit and go with you, my dear Hanumanji, I will escape. But there are millions of women who have been kidnapped by Ravana and kept here in Lanka. How will they escape? As a mother, I don't want to be selfish. I want to be generous to everybody. Sundari Raghunathasya Surastri Dukkha Shantaye Dashananasya Bhavane Dashamasan Niveshayan. With this intention of selfless service towards millions of other ladies who were trapped within Lanka by Ravana. Although Sita could have escaped in the first month, taking the offer of Hanumanji, she agreed to be tormented for Dashananasya Bhavane Dashamasan for 10 months. She went through that austerity, that torture, just so that she can serve everyone else. Then we come to Dwapar Yuga. In Dwapar Yuga, during Krishna Lila, we have the first mother we encounter, Devaki Mata. On the day of the marriage, the Akashvani said that in the 8th son, O Kamsa, the 8th son of Devaki will be the cause of your killing. And Kamsa became so paranoid that he put Devaki and Vasudeva in the jail and went on killing the 6 sons. Tatascha Shauri Bhagavat Prachodita Sutam Samadaya cha Sutika Grihat. Imagine the trauma Devaki as a mother went through. Kamsa would come and take each of the newborn baby and right in front of Devaki and Vasudeva smash the baby against the rock inside that jailhouse. And they had to go through this trauma 6 times. Vasudeva is described here as Shauri, means brave. Brave does not mean one who can defeat some enemies and armies. Brave means even in the most helpless situation, one refuses to lose hope and continues putting his best efforts. So Vasudeva and Devaki were going through excruciating pain. But what kept them going was the purpose behind the pain. So many times when we organize satsangs, invite people to the temples, go for worship, invite people to start spiritual practice. The first default thought in people's mind is, if I become spiritual, pain will disappear. No, that is not the purpose of wisdom gatherings like this. There are only two categories of people in this world. First, those who go through pain, which is everybody. And second, those who know the purpose behind the pain. So what all of our wisdom literatures do is not give a guarantee to relieve you from pain. But whether it is Bhagavad Gita, Ramayana, Mahabharata, Vedic literatures, or Bible, or Quran, or anything, all the literatures in religion helping you identify a purpose beyond that pain. And when you have that purpose, when kept at the front of your mind, gives you the strength to tolerate any kind of pain. And that's what is the example of Mother Devaki. I was giving a lecture in IIT Bombay. Some of your brothers are also from IIT Bombay?
IIT Delhi.
IIT Delhi. Prasad ji is from IIT Delhi. So we are IIT family.
IIT Kharagpur.
IIT Kharagpur. Okay, great. So I was doing a Janmashtami lecture. And in the Janmashtami lecture, I quoted this story. That how the Akashvani said, that the eighth son will be responsible for your death, O Kamsa. Devaki's eighth son. So after the lecture, one IIT student came to me and said, if the eighth son was going to kill Kamsa, Kamsa should have put Vasudeva in one jail, Devaki in another jail, not even one son would be born. And then he said in Hindi, Kamsa ko itna idea bhi chamka nahi kiya. So I said, kya kare Kamsa, IIT nahi gaya tha. But from the example of Krishna's Janma, and all of us are preparing for a grand Janmashtami celebration at ISKCON Boston. It is a day of celebration that Krishna appeared. But do not forget the background to that divine appearance. The background to that joyous appearance of Krishna is the painful experience of Mother Devaki. And what kept her going through that pain is she had the purpose very clear. Paritranaya sadhunam vinashaya cha dushkritam dharma sansthapanarthaya sambhavami yuge yuge. That I am an instrument to bring Krishna. Krishna has to appear. That is the purpose. And to fulfill that purpose, I am willing to go through the pain of seeing the death of my 6 sons. That is the motherly love of character. Then we come to Yashoda Mai, another mother who took care of Krishna as a foster parent for 11 years in Vrindavan. And she was constantly nourishing Krishna with her love and affection and devotion. Somatusvenna gatraya vistrishta kabarastraja drishtva parishramam Krishna kripayasit swabandhane. So Yashoda Ma is not looking at Krishna that he is the supreme. She's thinking, if I do not protect Krishna, what will happen? Concern, care, nourishment. And so she's trying to tie Krishna with the ropes. But in spite of so many ropes, it is 2 finger short. Finally, Krishna sees Yashoda Mai's devotion and agrees to be bound, what we call as Damodar Leela. So Krishna is standing there bound to the mortar, and Balramji comes there. And Balramji looks at Krishna and says, "Hey, who bound you up?" Krishna looks at Balramji and says, "Don't just stand and ask questions. Do something to release me." "Who will bind me?" "Mother Yashoda only. Go and ask her." So Balramji enters into the house and says in a loud voice, "Who dared to tie up Krishna? Who was it? How can this injustice happen in Vrindavan, in Gokul? Who did it?" Yashoda Mai comes out with a stick in her hand. She looks at Balramji and says, "I did it. What will you do?" Balramji says, "Maiya, you don't know who is Krishna?" Yashoda Mai says, "Who is he?" Balramji says, "Krishna is the Supreme Personality of Godhead. All the avatars, Ram, Narsingh, Vaman, Kurma, they all come from Krishna." Yashoda Mai looks at Balram and says, "Who are you then?" Balramji says, "I am the first expansion of Krishna, Vasudeva, Sankarshan, Pradyumna, Aniruddha. All these avatars come from me." Yashoda Mai picks up the stick, looks at Balram and says, "All the avatars had to be born in my house only or what?" "If you argue further, I'll bind you also next to Krishna." Balramji goes away running and tells Krishna, "I tried, but I failed." And so the Acharyas explain why Balramji could not release Krishna was the knot of affection and devotion tied by Yashoda Mai under Vatsalya cannot be released. Even by Balaramji. So therefore, the Srimad Bhagavatam Shukadeva Goswami says, "Nemam virincho na bhavo na shrir api anga samshrayam prasade lebhire gopi yattat prapya vimuktidat." The position given by Krishna to Yashoda Mai was not given by Krishna even to his son Brahma, even to Shiva, even to Lakshmi. What he gave to Yashoda Mai. Yattat prapya vimuktidat. Krishna gave the position of someone who will nourish him. And he remained dependent. Krishna who maintains the entire universe. He is the Gatir Bharta Prabhu Sakshi Nivasa Sharanam Suhrit. But he became dependent on Mother Yashoda. And then the third mother in Dwapar Yuga is Mother Kunti, who went through calamity after calamity. Yatra dharma suto raja gadapanir vrikodara krishnostri gandivam chapam suhurta krishnastato vipat. Normally we think that when we have power, money, skill, things will be sorted. So Bhishma is speaking this, looking at the Pandavas, reflecting on their entire life, and then says, look at the Pandava family. Yudhishthir is dharma personified. Bhima is power personified. Arjuna is skill personified. Nakul and Sahadev are loyalty personified. Krishna is well-wisher personified. All these powers are in one family. But this family went through adversity after adversity. Tato vipat. So therefore, we have the example of the Pandavas who were not praying to Krishna for increasing their sampatti. They were not praying to Krishna to decrease their vipatti, but they were praying to Krishna to enable their prapatti, which is Sharanagati, surrender and shelter. And therefore Kunti Maharani is the greatest example, because she was seeing everything in front of her eyes. And so she prays, Vipada santutah shashvat tatra tatra jagadguru bhavato darshanam nasyat yat punah pavadarshanam. She says, my dear Lord, when we are in vipatti, difficulty, we pray to you, depend on you, call out your names. We feel your presence. We feel a deep relationship. For me, a relationship with you is more important than prosperity. In adversity, we are able to call out to you more helplessly, more feelingly, in a more dependent manner. So I would rather request you to keep giving adversity in my life so that I always feel your presence. This is Kunti Maharani's consciousness. Whenever I quote this, I always clarify, this is Kunti Maharani's prayer, not my prayer. Because this is a very lofty prayer. Vipada santutah shashvat. Shashvat काल के लिए विपत्ति बनी रहे. Tatra tatra jagat guru. And therefore, Kunti Maharani is very much praying, Sneha pasha imam chindi dridam pandushu vrishnishu. My dear Lord, please enhance my depth of devotion towards you. So Kunti did her level best to serve her children, protect her children, but most importantly, nourished their children with the faith that in any kind of situation, always remain dependent. Kunti had the privilege of having some of the highly skilled sons. But Kunti Maharani's greatest contribution to her sons was not transmission of skills, but the privilege of giving them the will to always depend on Krishna. And therefore, the Pandavas were who they were because of the character, because of the values, because of that faith in dependence on Krishna which they received from Kunti Maharani. And so in the age of Kali, the Lord manifests as Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, and his mother Sachi Mata, she approaches Lord Chaitanya after he has taken sannyas. Kandiya bole na Prabhu bachare nimai Vishwarupa samana korihani thurai. Please, you have taken sannyas, do not disappear like your elder brother. Sannyasi hoya punah na dila darshan tumi taiche kaile mora hoibe maran. If you do like that, I cannot tolerate. So on hearing Sachi Mata's request, Lord Chaitanya changes his own plan. Because the reason he took sannyas was so that he can dedicate his entire life in Vrindavan. But when Sachi Mata is begging him, don't stay too away in Vrindavan. Rather than that, stay nearby in Puri. Lord Chaitanya Mahaprabhu demonstrates that sannyas, renunciation, does not mean renouncing clothes, renouncing hair, renouncing money. But the biggest renunciation is renouncing our plans to facilitate what can actually be done to serve society better. And that is the reason Lord Chaitanya stays 18 years in Jagannath Puri, to respect the instruction given by his mother, Sachi Mata. And therefore he has a deep desire to renovate all the holy places of Vrindavan, but he is not able to go. Krishna Bhakti, Krishna Prema, Seva Pravartan, Lupta Tirtha Uddhar, Ar Vairagya Shikshan. He gives this instruction of excavating holy places to Sanatan Goswami. And then he says, why? Mata Ragya Ami. Because of my mother's instruction, I am not able to go to Vrindavan. I am here. So on my behalf, you go and recreate Vrindavan. So therefore, as we sit here reflecting on the beautiful, wonderful, amazing tradition of matritva, of motherhood in our Vedic Sanatan Dharma tradition, across Satyuga, through Kayadu, through Treta Yuga, through Sita Devi, Kaushalya Mata, through Dwapar Yuga, through the example of Devaki, Yashoda Mai, Kunti Maharani, and through Kali Yuga, through Lord Chaitanya's mother, Sachi Mata, we seek that inspiration to follow in their footsteps and realize how we are dependent on being nourished at all levels by motherly love. And therefore, as we all assemble this evening, remembering the wonderful life of Savitri Devi, who was the foundation pillar of the Aika family here, and as our hearts reach out to every member of the family in condolence because of her disappearance, we are praying at the lotus feet of Sri Sri Radha Gopi Vallabhji to grant Srimati Savitri Aikaji eternal shelter at the lotus feet, so that ultimately she is able to fulfill all of her spiritual desires the way she always aspired for during her life. I'm extremely grateful to the Aika family for opening the doors of their homes for all the devotees and other well-wishers, guests, family and friends to assemble this evening to reflect on Savitri Devi's wonderful life as a mother, and at the same time look beyond and see what has been the lessons on motherhood given by various personalities in our tradition. My dear friend Krishna has been a very kind friend and well-wisher for many years, along with Premaka Mataji and their kids. On their invitation, I'm very grateful to be present here, leading this prayer meeting with all of you in memory of Srimati Savitri Devi. Thank you all very much. Hare Krishna.
Yeah, so we have my uncle here, Prasad, who will be coming next.
Good evening, folks. Praise the Lord. You know, it is a pleasure to listen to somebody who is spiritually inclined. You know, myself, about 25 years ago, I met a man when I was shopping in Sam's Club in Chicago. And he actually befriended me about